Morning traders, and this is your Aussie day trade setup for today. So starting off from the 4 hour, you can see we have had a break below the moving averages, and we've tested it twice. Now this is starting to look like we've built a rejection of this level. So you can see how long it took us to get through the moving averages. It's happened now. We are now rejecting them, and if we look at the daily, the trend is still up, and the fact that the buyers are still coming in this area here does still lean me towards thinking that we have a flag. Okay, so on the daily time frame, this is still a flag. We obviously want to see a break above that flag to start looking for any moves to the upside, any long-term move to the upside. So for now, we can treat it as a range, we can treat it as a flag, but that's pretty much what we see at the moment. So if you look at the 3 hour, you can see we've got to cross over the moving averages here. They have flattened out. They're not really pointing down. I want to see them pointing down for that confirmation. But you can see how the buyers stepped in. They actually let it get below, and all they did was look for this Brooks gap here. So that's all they targeted, and then the buyers stepped in. Okay, so if we quickly just look at the hour when we've got it expanded, then we'll look at it in a different view. It gives us a complete different picture. You can see we are above and below the moving averages like this, and this is not indication of a trend. This is no indication of a trend. So this is the challenge of trying to trade this. What you're looking for is you're looking for the moving averages to be standing up or standing down on the hour like this, because that gives you a clear indication of where the trend is. This mess here is not a trend. Okay, so you need to be very careful about what you do here. And the way we do it is to focus on lower time frames. And the lower time frames for me on this is pretty much something like a 6 minute. Okay, and you're looking for price action more than anything else. So you can see, this was yesterday's open, was it? Yeah. So you can see yesterday's open, we had a gap up, then you saw big, smaller, then a little bit bigger, a bit of an exhaustion bar, and then engulfing. There's your signal. Stop above there, short, and you're looking for the gap. We've got a little bit more than the gap. Okay, and if you're awake with the Brooks gap, the price action, he has two sort of an inside bar off a level. It's worth taking a shot, 200-point stop loss, and back you go. And the 200 moving average is obviously a target on the low time frames every single time. Okay, so what are we looking at today? So if you look at the 6 minute at the moment, the trend has reversed and we're rejecting it at the moment. Okay, if I bring this down to something like the 20 minute, it's not going to give us anything. If I bring it down to the 12 minutes, you'll see it's also not going to give us anything. So the challenge at the moment is there is no long-term trend. Okay, even though we are moving down, as far as I'm concerned, we need to be below the moving averages for a trend. This is not a trend, this is just confusion. So you need to trade that accordingly. So I think for today, a break below this fractal here will trigger a short. That's 51478, and that short for me would firstly target the lows of yesterday. Okay, which would be somewhere in the region of 51160. Let's just leave a bit of fat on that. Okay, the next thing to look at, and that is a fractal to the upside, would be 51607 as a break to the upside. Okay, and a break to the upside, this is going to be the difficult one because we are forming lower lows. So let me just get that drawn in. So I could draw it like that, but I think what I'm going to do, let's take the first two. fractal. So there's my first fractal, there's my second fractal. So yeah, so that's the current trend line. Well, that's the first trend line. This one here is the next trend line. You'll see it's almost parallel to that. So I suspect that would hold up price somewhat. Okay, if we do get above this area here, which is 51745, then that would open the door to this trend line. Okay, so technically speaking, we are sort of in a downward trend ever so slightly, but I'm very reluctant to be either side on this at the moment, to be honest. So what you want to be looking for is sure bet trades. Okay, so if you see price action moving to downside, go with it, but take your profit as quick as possible. Same with any move to the upside. Okay, let's just quickly get onto the Ichimoku. I don't think it's going to add any value to us today. And I think the world is in limbo at the moment. It's really properly in limbo, not knowing what's going on. So that's a true reflection of what we see in the charts at the moment. Okay, so starting off with a 12-minute. So this is where it becomes pretty interesting. We had a big move down, we've had a big move up. Okay, so we had a move up, we had a sort of a flag form, and then a second move up. And then there is an argument for a flag here. Okay, the downward channel flag. So there is an argument for that. We've had a bearish cross. We are above the cloud. Cloud is green here, so we've got one positive, two negative, so two bearish, one bullish mixed signals. Nothing really to read into that. The 30 minutes is a different picture. We are bullish, we are bullish, we're not bullish, but we've tested the top of the cloud, we're running along the cloud. So any break to the upside on the, according to the half hour, is going to give us our second move for this move here. And I can't help but thinking the politicians are going to come up with something very soon. We are waiting for Brexit in Europe, and we're waiting for World War III to start in the Middle East, and trade wars has kind of gone quiet because they've come to some form of agreement. So politicians are scrambling to move markets at the moment, and that's pretty much true. Anyway, the 1 hour. If you look at the 1 hour, in and out the cloud, the Ichimoku cloud like this, I mean, you really can't use Ichimoku to trade this at the moment. This is truly, it's range bound. Okay, whenever we're in above the cloud, below the cloud, above the cloud, below the cloud, and then you got death cross, golden cross, death cross, golden cross, death cross. You can't trade that. Okay, so if you look at what we have here, we've got a death cross. It stayed a death cross. It's been down. We sort of bounced off the cloud twice now. Yeah, so we could be looking for a third time lucky or unlucky. So in other words, a third attempt to get through the cloud, or it rejects the cloud again and then moves down and then eventually moves down properly. So this is still a setup. I don't see a setup for the down move. At the moment, I see a setup for an up move, although we are in bearish territory. And if you look at the 4 hour death cross, but that's the only signal that we have here. We don't have any other signals. We are rejecting the cloud. So I want to get rid of the noise. So you can see we're bouncing off the cloud here. And if you look at price action there, inside bar, double inside bar, lots of tails off here, buyers stepping in off here, lots of noise indicating a move back to the upside. And then looking at the daily, you've got this long tail, 2 days in a row, could be a tweezer bottom here inside a consolidation pattern. From an Ichimoku perspective, it is bullish, but range bound. So flat Kijinsen coming back down. So yeah, mixed signal, guys. I'm kind of reluctant to be even looking at this on anything higher than let's just get back to strategy. I'm really kind of reluctant to be looking at this or anything higher than a 5-minute chart at the moment. So if we just blow up the 5-minute chart and get rid of the noise, you'll see what I mean. So even if you're taking the trade on the break of the moving averages and you're looking for a moving average crossover, which was here, that's a very short trade that you would have got. But to the upside, you got to break up, you got to test there with some crossover starting to happen, and just look at what your entry would have been above this fractal here and stop below that fractal. So that's a 100-point risk, okay, for 300 odd points. So I think for me, the 5-minute chart at the moment on the Aussie is the one to be watching, and just be prepared that it is going to move down and up pretty much in the same day. So you'll have a relatively big move down, a relatively big move up, and trade that accordingly. And I think that's kind of my view on this at the moment, which basically means you need to sit and watch the chart, which is not ideal because the levels, it's very difficult to ascertain what the levels are as well. So for me, 5-minute chart, looking at my oscillators, you can see oscillators group to the upside. Okay, I'm looking for some kind of indication that this is going to fall. There it was there. Okay, this little area here has a bit of confusion. You've got some barbed wire forming. But if you just work according to the oscillators and price action, you will see, you can see here you've got, something's about to happen. And there's always a fake out. And you can see here's the fake out. So here's the first area where people would have been long on the break of this this tail here. So you would have seen longs were triggered there, and then immediately the seller stepped in to push down and trigger all those stop losses, and those stop losses were triggered, boom, 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 down to a bigger level, and that was a 4-hour Brooks gap. And then you saw a bit of consolidation here again, oscillators indicating when you start seeing that kind of stuff, long it is, and it would have been difficult. I mean, if you're looking just for a bit of retracement, which is some people were here, and they got it wrong. Okay, so it's very volatile at the moment, and I think that's where you need to trade. So 5-minute charts it is, and we have to wait and see. And just to close off, we have 10 cents sitting at 0.4% down at the moment, US dollar 13.33, so that's probably going to negate that. And the US markets were down yesterday, and they are down 0.5% already today. So bias is probably, this switch in direction here is probably going to continue. Probably another short that you need to be looking at. And so the last thing is, I can't give you a breakout of this level, but this 200 moving average would be your target. Okay, and that's on the hour, which is basically the previous low. So that's 51138. Okay, anyway guys, that's it for me today. Hope it helps, and I'll catch you later. Cheers for now.